Well, you can't win them all, and it's been a really good January for Norwich, so we're not too bothered about the Boro results. We've got Tom and Matty fresh back to the Riverside, so they'll give us their thoughts on a narrow defeat. Welcome back to Canaries Walk. Also, this week we're talking who's the worst ever Norwich City manager that you've watched in terms of the style of play. We've also got our A to Z, the letter N, and we're picking our January Player of the Month, so lots to get our teeth into. Welcome back. If you only just found the channel, drop us a quick sub. This is 20 minutes of Norwich City Chat. It's the shortest Norwich City podcast you will find on the internet, and we like to think it's a pretty darn good one as well. We've got Tom with us and Matty. Matty, I'll come to you first. I know this fixture is your one that you rouse you up the most. Are you a little bit disappointed with how the performance went, or is it fair to say Boro are probably heading to the Premier League?
What are you laughing at, Tom, already? I've not even started.
Red rag to a bull.
Yeah. I don't know, because I wasn't impressed with Coventry on Monday, and I wasn't overly impressed with Middlesbrough, but everyone seems to be saying that Middlesbrough are the best team we've played. And so, yeah, I think it speaks volumes of the poor quality of the league, but probably just a step too far, I guess, in terms of, we've had a hell of a January. We've had a hell of a run under Clement in general, and you play a team that's probably going to go up, and, you can't win them all, can you? So a hell of a result against Coventry, and then one step too far on Saturday, unfortunately.
Yeah, you can just tell because you're from that area that there's a little bit of sour grapes in your voice there, do I detect? Or
it's just a bit horse mark, to be honest.
Yeah, okay. Ronnie C says they're the best team in the league. No need to get too down about this, Tom. On to the next one. Yeah, on the ball, City. Yeah, do you agree?
Yeah, I think to Matty's point, it probably was one step too far. Pelle Matson being injured, I think, probably disrupted the flow of the team. And actually, I think when you look at the game yesterday, Middlesbrough picked up the ball in pockets where he probably would have been ordinarily. No disrespect to Jacob Wright, but he's that's probably not his best position. And equally, I think we were probably not at our game either. I think there was a few stray passes, there was a few. There's a few leggy players. I think January really told, and it has been a busy month. And I think, we'll get onto it, of course. But I think if you ask any Norwich fan, they would have accepted a defeat at Middlesbrough if it meant that we got the other results that we did. Not our finest hour. We gave them the goal as well. Yes, he's put it in the top bin, but we're messing around with it at the back. And didn't close the shot down. So we had a couple of opportunities, but I think on balance, I don't think we can be too upset with it.
Absolutely. And the next 3 games, Tom, against 3 relegation rivals as well. So this is where the next 2 weeks we will know exactly where Norwich are going to be at the end of the season, I think, to Blackburn, Oxford, and of course West Brom. Staying with Middlesbrough, though, frustrating game. Boro definitely going up. Cordoba and McConville's so good. Says Dan Matty. Slightly off it today, but against a great opponent, so it's actually expected. Come on, you yellows. Just talk about McConville. He's getting rave reviews online.
Yeah, he's been really, really good. Killian can't make it for this recording, but I know he's been banging on about McConville getting a start, and now he's got this run of games, and he's been really good. You can't fault him. I think he'd admit himself he's not the quickest. But in terms of the way that he reads the play and he breaks the play up, he's brilliant. And him and Cordoba have got this nice little pairing going on, which is really good. So, as that tweet said, Cordoba was superb as well yesterday. They both were good. It's such a shame, as Tom said, we gave them the goal and we didn't manage to get one ourselves. So, I think those two were definitely 2 standouts yesterday.
Yeah, and of course it was a mistake for the goal as well. Tom, any issues with that?
I just think that we were guilty of overplaying in the wrong areas. I think we saw it, early on in the season where we were really trying to get blood out of a stone in terms of playing out the back. And I think it's one thing playing out from the back, but I think what we have adapted under Clement is not overplaying. And I think there was probably signs of early season Norwich in there. Where they were to sort of force themselves into tight areas. And again, you look at Middlesbrough's, tactics, they would have played into that. Do you know what I mean? They pressed us high. So yeah, it happens. I think unfortunately it's cost us a goal.
Yeah. Cole says Hackney was different gravy. We dug in well and competed right to the end. That was really good team, to be fair. No way was that a terrible performance from our boys. nothing like it has been on the previous two coaches we'd had here. And it's that, to that point, Matty, is just how different in terms of not caving in. You're 1-0 down, but it didn't go to 2-0, it didn't go to 3-0. How good has Clement made your side in terms of resilience when the chips are down?
I think that's a very good point, and without wanting to harp back too much, we would have lost that 4-5-0 under previous regime. So I think for me the biggest thing is that we now go to win games and attack, and I know Liam Manning won't say that he ever set his team out to not go and win games, but it was more like, don't lose rather than go and win. It's how it felt. Obviously, we would never say that. But we also look like we've got a little bit more nous about us now, which is ironic given them that, as Tom said, we gifted them the goal. But in general, it's chalk and cheese. We look so much better under Clement, and we should stay up.
Okay. Transfer window closes, of course. 24 hours after recording this. You have signed a striker this evening, Mohamed Toure from the Danish club. Thought to be about 2.5 million, something like that, Tom. Okay, testing you here, but what do we know about your new striker?
Absolutely nothing. I must, and I'm not going to rave to say I've seen YouTube clips and he's going to be the next big thing, because as we know, that never really paints the full picture. But he seems to have the right attitude and attributes that that Clement wants. And again, we refer back to previous podcasts when we said who's really got the keys and the driving seat to the January transfer window. So it'd be really interesting to see if he was on our radar pre-Clement, or whether it's something that that he's moved for. But we only seem to be able to shop in Scandinavia at the moment for strikers. So but I mean, fair play. He looks young and hungry, and we said last week that we don't have another option to Makama, and because Kiskoren isn't the fittest, and is he a 10, is he a winger, etc. So it's good that we've now gone and got that. Does that maybe mean someone's now free to leave? Who knows? But it's good to see that the club are acting proactively.
I can't think who you might mean.
Not a clue.
I mean, joking aside, Matty, what would you do if you were Clement in this situation? He said you're not leaving. He wants to leave. Do you give in and let him go?
Not unless the offer's right, I think, because otherwise you look very weak if you let him go for anything less than 10 million, in my opinion. He's got this daft relegation clause, which obviously isn't going to come into effect. So there's no danger of losing him for 1.5 million. And he's still got a couple of years, I'm sure, left on his contract, hasn't he? Tom, you'll probably be able to record exactly.
What day and time his contract finishes?
The specific hour. No. But it's for me, it's keep him. If he wants to apologise and force his way back in, then I think we'd forgive him, and if he wants to stay and play and work his backside off like he has done for us for a long time, then fair enough. But if someone comes in on deadline day and says, there's 20 million or whatever, or 15 million, then we might have to take it, I guess.
Tom, would you forgive him and welcome him back?
Personally, yes, as long as he said, if he said and shown the right things. But I know that Norwich fans generally will take a lot of convincing. We take convincing of our own signings. We were going to sign that Casper Hogue, and then all of a sudden it was he's not good enough, and his ball striking technique isn't good enough, and all of a sudden everyone had written him off before it even been linked to us. But I think unfortunately the bridge is burnt with Sargent. I think it's one thing, saying you've got bigger ambitions, etc. I think it's another thing to refuse to play for the club, and I think unfortunately that is what would be the underlying tone if it came back to playing for us. But I don't know, maybe we'll need him for a playoff push come April.
Dear me.
I'm sorry.
You spoke about this midweek, of course, as well, but I'm not supposed to ask you about obviously Brentford midfielder Mahoma as well. Matty, what's he going to give you? You haven't already got.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, that, because I understand he can play. I didn't know this. I've only recently found out, because I thought he was an out-and-out 10, but apparently he can drop in and play in central midfield as well. So Yeah, it's going to be interesting because obviously with Maatsen being injured, he's not a ball winning midfield like Maatsen is. But it's another body in there with Force and Topic and whoever else being injured. So yeah, it's good, and we've looked okay. Well, no, sorry, we looked good with Schwartau in the 10. But having another option there is really, really good, really exciting. So I think all round, irrespective of the outgoing that might happen, it's been a really good window. And we've bolstered in the right places. Shame about Harry Mass because he's got injured in training, I think, and he's probably going to be going back to Man United. So if he'd had stayed fit, it would have been a pretty perfect window as far as I was concerned.
Yeah, really good player as well. Super. Right, January Player of the Month time then, please. Tom, who gets it for you?
I think the easy option would be to give it to Makama. I think McConville's got to take it for me. I think to come in from the cold, not just from one manager, but from 2025 in general. Obviously, we signed him. Was it last January, May? And he had, I think it was last January. He's had obviously all of 2025 being this highly rated young centre half that that's not really ever played for us, and to be sort of thrown in and shown the right things under Clement. I think him and Cordoba have formed a fantastic partnership, and he is keeping what is an experienced and well seasoned Championship centre half in Harry Darling out of the team. I don't think it's through dropping Darling and we've got no other options. I think McConville has been that good, and there's been time and again this month where he has bailed us out with great tackles, but he's just generally very calm. I think we've seen a lot of panic over the last 12 months in the back four and the goalkeeper, in our team. And I think, for me, he's got to take our January Player of the Month accolade.
Just on May.
I'd have to agree. McConville's been superb. Cordoba also would get a shout as being kind of on par in terms of the impact. Not only is he left-footed, but he's got a bit of pace and he looks calm on the ball. And the two of them, brilliant, like pivotal to this kind of run that we've had of, I appreciate we've not won every game in January, far from it, but in terms of looking a hell of a lot more solid. Yeah. And when Darling did start, not that I'm wanting to slag Darling off because I do rate him, but when he did start, he looked a little bit off. So, McConville or Cordoba, but probably just McConville for Player of the Month for me.
Super. Let us know in the comments your choices. Last week we were talking about who the best ever manager for Norwich was. This week we're talking about the worst ever manager for Norwich in terms of the style of play. Yeah. Can I just ban you from saying Manning now? Is that otherwise this conversation gets a little bit?
I think statistically, I think it is Manning, but
statistically,
Matty
style
and I
of
have
play,
got longer memories than that.
Yeah, okay. Who bored the pants off you, Tom? Who when you drudgingly went to Carrow Road going, this is
I think we probably either need to go with, there's probably three that stick in my mind. One of them would be Glenn Roeder. I think the other one could be Peter Grant for a very short period of time in like 2007. And Chris Hughton, I think. This again, if we looked at stats, they'd say he guided you to the highest Premier League finish you ever had and kept you up and all the rest of it, but it was absolutely turgid. I think the fact that we had Elmander on loan and he scored one goal, it was beyond belief. But I don't know. I think to be honest, Mark, you could probably reel them off in the last 5-10 years. You could probably reel them off. You could probably add Wagner. You could probably add Dean Smith into that. Anybody but Farker and Lambert, I think you could probably say. But I'll go with Chris Hughton.
Okay, Chris gets your vote. Matty?
Of more recent years, Chris Hughton, and even more recently, Dean Smith. Tom just mentioned him there. Dean Smith's football was turgid, boring, soulless. It was just crap. And bang on with Grant and Roeder in the dark years, being relegated from the Championship with shocking squads, and obviously that's pre-Lambert coming in and working miracles. So yeah, we had some crap team players and a couple of crap managers around then as well. So those were definitely the dark days of Norwich City. Yeah, but for me,
a few people chucking Brian Hamilton as well back in there. It's a bit older than late 90s.
For me, if I'm going more recent, I'll go Dean Smith just because it was bad, really bad.
Okay. Let us know in the comments, please. We'll read some of these out next week as well. Just put your best manager in there as well, please. We'll show some of these out. Okay, we're up to letter N this week. N for Norwich. You can't put that in there, though. Player or event that you think should go in here. Is this an easy one, Matty, or not?
It is actually. Do you know what? Being a Northern lad, I'm half an hour or 45 minutes or so away from where I was born is Hartlepool, and it was a centre-back who used to play for Hartlepool called Michael Nelson, who Norwich then signed when we were in League One, and he scored an overhead kick at Victoria Park, is it called, I think? Hartlepool's ground. Weird. Never seen a centre-back score. Like, it wasn't slight, he wasn't sort of acrobatic, and he scored this goal in League One up in the northeast, and it was a dull sort of January or February, whatever it was. Yeah, amazing. So just because we had a good year that season in League One with him and then in the Championship, of course. Mickey Nelson for me.
Brilliant. Tom?
I'd go player and object, if you call it. For me, Steen Nedergaard. Matty. For me, sort of like this, sort of changing the light bulb. For me, player Steen Nedergaard. I think growing up and going to Carrow Road when I was a wee nipper, Steve Nedergaard at right back in sort of 2002 was he was a classic, and Danish as well. Again we've gone full circle in the last 25 years. And then I think as an object, the Nest, our original ground pre-Carrow Road. For some of the older viewers, or some of the ones that enjoy Norwich City history, they would probably argue that is better for N.
Brilliant. What have they forgotten? Let us know in the comments. Thanks so much. Next week they might run into a bit of a brick wall because we're doing the letter O. So you can either help them out in the comments for that, or we are going to let them put overhead kicks in. So Matty, you may just have to repeat your answer next week. But what's the best overhead kick or bicycle kick you've seen a Norwich City player score? Must be one's better than what Matty's just mentioned. So
that's the best.
We've got a back catalogue for O. Got a Liverpudlian right back. I'll leave it there, and we'll talk about him next week.
All right, okay. We'll get into O next week then. Thanks so much, fellas. Join us next week. We'll cast our view back, of course, on the Blackburn game. Is it Blackburn or Oxford? Remind me.
Blackburn Saturday, Oxford Tuesday.
That's right, yeah. And then West Brom in the Cup, not in the league. So before anyone types it in the comments going, you stupid idiot, I realise, okay, it's in the Cup. But we'll throw in Sheffield Wednesday as well, because then you definitely do have 3 relegation rivals coming up in the league. So, Right. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Matty. We'll catch you back with the full team, James and Killian, back here next week. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to sub and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
Cheers. See you next week.